Good morning, class 10. In our previous class, we have finished till the second point on page number 74. Now we will start the third point. But before we start, let us quickly see what we were doing. We were doing the functions of the political parties. We have done two functions till now. We did first function as parties contest elections. This is the first function we did of the political parties. They contest elections. Second function was parties put forward different policies and programs and voters choose from them. Now let us begin the third function. Parties play a decisive role in making laws for a country, a very important function of political parties. They make laws for the country. Formally, underline this first line, children. Formally, laws are debated and passed in the legislature. We all know that laws are passed in the legislature. But since most of the members belong to a party, they go by the direction of the party leadership, irrespective of their personal opinions. That means if a majority in the party wants a law to be made, then even if one or two members do not agree with their opinion, they have to go by the party, by the majority viewpoint. Fourth, parties form and run governments. Another simple to remember and an important point. Parties form and run governments. Underline. As we noted last year, the big policy decisions are taken by political executive that comes from the political parties. Parties recruit leaders. Political executive here means party leaders. You must have seen each political party has eminent party leaders. All members of the party don't become so popular and so eminent. There are specific party members who become popular, who are the leaders of that party. Party recruit leaders, train them, and then make them ministers to run the government in the way they want. So those who are popular members, they are important members of the party, they become the ministers and they run the government the way they want to. Those parties that lose the elections play the role of opposition to the parties in power. Underline this. This is another function of political parties. The opposition party also plays a very important role, and what role does it play? Let us see in the next line. By voicing different views and criticizing the government for its failures or wrong policies. So whatever wrong the government is doing, the ruling party is doing, if it is making any flaws, any mistakes, then those mistakes, those shortcomings are highlighted by the opposition party. Opposition parties also mobilize opposition to the government. That means they organize opposition to the government. They speak in such a way, they organize themselves in such a way that they are able to present their viewpoint to the government. Parties shape public opinion. Underline. This is another important function, very important function of political parties. Parties shape public opinion. They raise and highlight issues. Underline this also. Parties have lakhs of members and activists spread all over the country. Many of the pressure groups are the extension of political parties among different sections of society. Now, what are pressure groups? I am telling the meaning. If you want to write the meaning, then you can write on the left hand side of the column. Pressure groups. These groups use pressure tactics to fulfill their aim. They put pressure on the government to fulfill their aim. That is why they are called pressure groups. They use pressure, use pressure to fulfill their aims. They pressurize the government in order to fulfill their aims. Many of the pressure groups are the extensions of political parties among different sections of society. Parties sometimes also launch movements for the resolution of problems faced by the people. So in order to solve the problems of the people, different movements are organized by different political parties to highlight the problem and to get it solved. Often opinions in the society crystallize on the lines parties take. Crystallize here means they become clear. Opinions in the society become clear on the lines party take. That means whatever line of action the party takes, the opinion of the people in the society becomes clear accordingly. Whatever whatever ways and means the party takes to solve the problems of the people, the way they highlight the problem and the way they get it solved, the opinion of the people in the society is reflected clearly through the ways or the lines the party takes. Parties provide people access to the government machinery and welfare schemes implemented by the government. Underline. This is another function of political parties. Parties provide people access to the government machinery. We can't have direct access to the government machinery, but it is through the political parties that the people get their representation in the government machinery. They get access in the government machinery, and the people's viewpoint goes till the government, is put up before the government through political parties. And welfare schemes implemented by the governments. For an ordinary citizen, it is easy to approach a local party leader than a government officer. Yes, it is very much obvious that a local party leader within that society or within that town or city, it is easy to approach that party leader rather than meeting any government officer. It is not possible for any ordinary human being, any ordinary citizen to meet any minister of a particular party, but it is much more simpler, much easier to meet a particular party leader of that area. That is why they feel close to parties even when they do not fully trust them. They feel close to parties even they do not fully trust them. Why do they feel close? Why people feel that they are close to the party? Because they can approach their party leaders and put up their problems and expect a suitable solution. Parties have to be responsive to people's needs and demands. Otherwise, people can reject those parties in next elections. This is another very important role which the people can play. People have a very important role to play here. If the parties are not responsive to the people's needs and demands, that means if the party in power does not do anything to solve the problems of the people, to bring peace among the people, or to find suitable solutions to their problems, if they don't do anything to fulfill their needs and aspirations, then the people will not vote for that party in the next elections, and that will not become the ruling party. It will lose in the elections. So the party in power has to see to it that they fulfill the needs and demands of the people. Necessity. Now we will read here why a political party is needed. Why is it necessary? This list of functions in a sense answers the question asked above. We need political parties because they perform all these functions. Very important. Why do we need the parties? Why do we need political parties? Because they perform all these functions. But we still need to ask why modern democracy cannot exist without political parties. We can understand the necessity of political parties by imagining a situation without parties. Pay attention. All these lines are very, very important. You can write important, put brackets here, from we can understand till the last line of this paragraph. Put brackets here and write very important. We can understand the necessity of political parties by imagining a situation without parties. Just imagine a situation when a country does not have any political party and see what kind of a country it will be. every candidate in the elections will be independent. If there is no political party does what? It organizes all the members into one party. All members who have joined any particular political party, they are organized and they form one political party. So if there is no such political party system, then what will happen? Every candidate in the elections will be independent. So no one will be able to make any promises to the people about any major policy changes. Since everybody will be independent when they will stand for elections, so they will not be making any specific promises to the people to bring about any changes in the policies, in whatever policies they are planning to adopt. The government may be formed, but its utility will remain ever uncertain. How useful that government will be, what role it is going to play, is it going to be fulfilling the needs and aspirations of the people, is it going to fulfill the demands of the people? There is always going to be a question mark if there is no political party system. The government may be formed, but its utility will remain very uncertain, ever uncertain. Elected representatives will be accountable to their constituency for what they do in the locality, but no one will be responsible for how the country will be run. Elected representatives, those people who are elected from a particular constituency, they will be just responsible for their constituency, for their area from where they are contesting elections, but they will not be responsible for the whole country. They will not have any responsibility, any liability towards running the country. So they will only fulfill their selfish motives, they will only be related to themselves, they will only be concerned for themselves, and the country will not be their motive in mind. They will not do anything for the welfare of the country, they will only see how they can remain in the party. So they will only work for their constituency, for their limited area, but actually they are meant to serve the country, but their motive of serving the country will not be there in their mind. So the question of how they are going to run the country, how responsible they are going to prove for the country, this question will not remain in their mind if there is no political party. So please learn this. All these lines must be learned by all of you, so that you know if a question comes, what is the need of any political party. Suppose there is no political party, then what will happen? So you will write all these lines. Learn them. We can also think about it by looking at the non-party based elections to the panchayat in many states. Although the parties do not contest formally, it is generally noticed that the village gets split into more than one faction. Faction means group of people, each of which puts up a panel of its candidates. This is exactly what the party does. That is the reason we find political parties in almost all countries of the world, whether these countries are big or small, old or new, developing or developed. You don't have to learn anything in this paragraph. The rise of political parties is directly linked to the emergence of representative democracies. As we have seen, large societies need representative democracy. As societies become larger and complex, they also need some agency to gather different views on various issues and to present these to the government. They needed some ways to bring various representatives together so that a responsible government could be formed. They needed a mechanism to support or restrain the government, make policies, justify or oppose them. Political parties fulfill these needs that every representative government has. We can say that parties are necessary condition for a democracy. Again, this whole thing The last paragraph of page 74 and the first two paragraphs of page 75, they are very important because they again tell you why do we need a political party, what is the need of a political party. So you will underline everything and you will learn. Either you make your in the book only you make these paragraphs into points. If you think point learning is easier, you can retain better, then you change these paragraphs, these lines into points and learn them. This is going to tell you what is the need of any political party, why political parties are necessary. I am reading some important lines once again. As societies became larger and complex, they also needed some agency to gather views on various issues to present these to the government. So one point is this: in order to gather different views on various issues and present to the government in larger societies and complex societies, we need political parties. They needed some ways to bring various representatives together. Who needed? Larger societies. They needed some ways to bring various representatives together so that a responsible government could be formed. So this is another important need of a political party. They needed a mechanism to support or restrain the government, make policies, justify or oppose them. All this is done through political parties. Political parties fulfill these needs that every representative government has. These are common needs of all representative governments, and these needs are fulfilled by the political parties. We can say that parties are a necessary condition for a democracy. So this is your homework, learn it. Next heading is, how many parties should we have? In India there are so many political parties. Let us see how many we should have. In a democracy, any group of citizens is free to form a political party. In this formal sense, there are a large number of political parties in each country. More than 750 parties are registered with the Election Commission of India. But not all these parties are serious contenders in the elections. There are some small parties also. All parties are not so important when elections have to be held. Usually only a handful of parties are effectively in the race to win the elections and form the government. So the question then is, how many major or effective parties are good for a democracy? In some countries, only one party is allowed to control and run the government. These are called one-party system. Underline. Very, very important. This can often be asked in a 1 mark or a 2 mark question. A question comes like this: what do you mean by a one-party system? Or what do you mean by a multi-party system? Both are important. As we will reach the multi-party system, you will underline that. Here underline this and write learn. Learn it by heart. What do you mean by a one-party system? In some countries, only one party is allowed to control and run the government. These are called one-party systems. Now, on page 76, children, there is nothing for you to learn. So, you can put a cross mark on the top. Come to page 77. In class 9, we noted that in China, only the Communist Party is allowed to rule. Although, legally speaking, people are free to form political parties, it does not happen because the electoral system does not permit free competition for power. We cannot consider one-party system as a good option. Underline. From we cannot consider. We cannot consider a one-party system as a good option because this is not a democratic option. In a democracy, there should be more than one parties. Multi-party system is considered good in democracies. Any democratic system must allow at least two parties to compete in elections and provide a fair chance for the competing parties to come to par. Underline till par. In a democracy, in a democratic system, at least two parties should be there to compete in the elections, and they both should be given a fair chance, a fair opportunity for competing each other and come to par. In some countries, par usually changes between two main parties. Several other parties may exist, contest elections, and win a few seats in the national legislatures. But only the two main parties have a serious chance of winning majority of seats to form the government. Such a party system is called two-party system. Underline this whole paragraph starting from in some countries till two-party system and write learn. All these definitions can be easily asked in a 2-mark question, children. So please don't forget to learn them. The United States of America and the United Kingdom are examples of two-party system. Underline this also, very important. You can easily be asked to give example in a 1-mark question. If several parties compete for par, pay attention, if several parties compete for par like we have in India, and more than two parties have a reasonable chance of coming to par either on their own strength or in alliance with others like coalition governments, we call it a multi-party system. Underline and learn. When several parties compete for par and more than two parties have a reasonable chance of winning or coming to par either by their own strength, that means by getting a clear majority, or through alliance, that means by forming a coalition, then we call it a multi-party system. Thus in India we have a multi-party system. Underline this also. A 1-mark question can be asked to you, give an example of a multi-party system. So without a second thought you should write India. In this system, underline now also, in this system, the government is formed by various parties coming together in a coalition. When several parties in a multi-party system join hands for the purpose of contesting elections and winning par, it is called an alliance or a front. Underline. Another definition which you have to learn. Starting from when several parties. When several parties in a multi-party system join hands for the purpose of contesting elections and winning par, it is called an alliance or a front. For example, in India, there were 3 such major alliances in 2004 parliamentary elections: the National Democratic Alliance, the United Progressive Alliance, and the Left Front. The multi-party system often appears very messy and leads to political instability. At the same time, this system allows a variety of interests and opinions to enjoy political representative. So, underline this also. Why? Because here it is giving you one merit and one demerit of a multi-party system. Underline. First is the demerit. The multi-party system often appears very messy and leads to political instability. It appears to be very messy because there are so many parties in the scene. All want to contest elections and either win a clear majority or form an alliance and come to par. And this kind of multi-party system leads to political instability at times. So this is one disadvantage. But the advantage is it allows a variety of interests and opinions to enjoy political representatives. Different political parties have different party leaders, they have their different opinions and a variety of interests. So since it is a democratic country, they get a chance to show their political representation. So, which of these is better? Perhaps the best answer to this very common question is that it is not a very good question. Party system is not something any country can choose. It evolves over a long time depending on the nature of the society, its social and regional divisions, its history of politics, and its system of elections. These cannot be changed very quickly. The type of party system which any country chooses cannot be changed very quickly because it depends on so many factors: nature of the society, social and regional divisions, is history of politics, and system of elections. Each country develops a party system that is conditioned by its special circumstances. That means the special circumstances in that country is responsible for developing a particular party system in that country. For example, if India has evolved a multi-party system, now underline why India has evolved a multi-party system. The reason is given there, so you must underline and learn. If India has evolved a multi-party system, it is because the social and geographical diversity in such a large country is not easily absorbed by two or even three parties. India is such a vast country with so many social diversities, with such a vast population, that it is not justified if India has only two or three political parties. So, a multi-party system is very much needed in a vast country like India. No system is ideal for all countries and all situations, obviously. Every country has its own demands, its own social setup, its own political background, its system of conducting elections, etc. etc. The needs of every country is different. So we can't say that one system is good for all the countries. Different countries might adopt different systems, different setups according to their needs. So in this paragraph, you will underline the last 4-5 lines which tells you why in India multi-party system has been evolved. Now on the next page again, children, I have seen that there is nothing for you to learn, so you can put a cross mark on the top. Now come to the next page, page 79. National political parties. Democracies that follow a federal system all over the world tend to have two kinds of political parties. Parties that are present in only one of the federal units, and parties that are present in several or all units of federation. In India, what do we have? Parties which are present in all units of federation. This is the case in India as well. There are some country-wide parties which are called national parties. Underline this. There are some country-wide parties which are called national parties. These parties have their units in various states. Underline this also. If you are asked to write what are national parties, then what you are underlining, you will write that. These parties have their units in various states. But by and large, all these units follow the same policies, programs and strategy that is decided at the national level. Underline till level. This is explaining the national parties. Every party in the country has to register with the Election Commission. Underline. Whatever information you will read now in this page and on the next page, they are very important. I will tell you to underline it and learn it. Every party in the country has to register with the Election Commission. While the Commission treats all parties equally, it offers some special facilities to large and established parties. These parties are given a unique symbol. Underline. The large parties, the old established parties, get an election symbol from the election commission. Only the official candidates of that party can use that election symbol. Parties that get this privilege and some other special facilities are recognized by the election commission for this purpose. Underline. Parties that get this privilege, that means they get the privilege of getting an election unique symbol for their party, and some other special facilities are recognized by the election commission for this purpose. That is why these parties are called recognized political parties. Underline till here. The parties which are old and established parties, large political parties, they are recognized by the election commission and they are called as recognized political parties. They get a unique symbol for their party, which some specific official candidates of that party are only allowed to use that election symbol, and the parties get this privilege. That means they can use the election symbol, and some other facilities are also given by the election commission. So this is the facility given only to recognized political parties. Recognized by whom? By the election commission. The election commission has laid down detailed criteria of the proportion of votes and seats that a party must get in order to be a recognized party. How can any party be called a recognized party? Let us see. The election commission has set up a criteria. What criteria? How any party can be called a recognized party? A party that secures, underline, a party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in an election to the Legislative Assembly of a state and wins at least 2 seats is recognized a state party. A party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in the election to the Legislative Assembly of the state and wins at least 2 seats is recognized as a state party. Then a party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in the Lok Sabha elections or assembly elections in 4 states and wins at least 4 seats in the Lok Sabha is recognized as a national party. So all these important lines, children, mark them as separate headings and learn them. This chapter is very important from your board exam point of view because many questions, 1 mark, 3 mark and 5 mark, many questions come from this chapter every year. So you have to learn what is the criteria for calling any party a